Yeah.
I would also say that it is pretty clear that between you and Chase Oliver, that there is a certain level of
about this, okay?
I'm a real politico here, so when I observe you and I observe Oliver, the only thing that comes to mind is, yeah, there was internal sabotage within the Libertarian Party. They could not have anybody like you get a national spotlight that could actually threaten being able to draw votes away from Trump, let's say. I mean, listen, the Democrats are even worse than the Republicans, because the Democrats just make sure the Green Party can't even have ballot access in any state. Like, it's even more insane how undemocratic they really are. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm looking back at that convention. I'm looking at all of the Conservative Inc. guys that showed up there that were pumping up Trump and telling people to support him. And then it all dawned on me. I'm like, yeah, Chase Oliver is so out of his element. He has no business doing this. His politics are anything but libertarian. So naturally, they're going to put him up there, which is why they would not even allow you or, dare I say, Dave Smith to get within earshot of being able to be that candidate. It does make you wonder, is it just a fool's errand at this point to even attempt to do something outside of the two-party system, or does voting even, I mean, I say voting matters, but I also am of the mind that we can't vote our way out of this. We have to be coalescing outside of the electoral system if we're ever going to have this change.
Yes, that's why I say as a PAC is both a movement and a PAC. You know, we first have to change the culture. Let's be real. There's a lot of cultural change that has to happen, but we think it can happen through the process of growing the political prong of this. The political prong, of course, is to replace these people. You know, nothing is destroyed until it's replaced. This is a famous line from, I think, Napoleon it actually goes back to. But anyway, the point being that unless we replace these people, we don't get anything different. And I agree, voting it seems to be a fool's errand. But on the other hand, what else are we going to do? In other words, we're going to do activism, of course. We're going to do activism. We're going to make we're going to make it known what we're doing and how we're doing it and why we're doing it. This can change the political atmosphere, the cultural atmosphere altogether. So I'm sure you're looking at the same issues that I am, and I shouldn't say we have a team as well. I have Lori Price, who's our treasurer. We have a lot of great activists involved. I'm sure you do too, and that's wonderful. And we want to be supportive of you, and we want to help you help America.
I think it is imperative that we cover this story that just came out earlier today. I believe this is from the UN. The lady's name is Novi Pale, I think is how you say it, and I believe she's from India. And this is going to be the appetizer to the entree, because Ben Gvir decided to make a public statement earlier today. You want more reason why we have to get away from Israel? Here's a really good reason. This is from, I believe this is from the earlier this weekend, and Ben Gvir is from earlier today.
The Commission concluded that Israel has committed genocide against the Palestinian people in Gaza, and that it is continuing with that genocide. It is now almost 2 years since Israel launched its military campaign in the Gaza Strip in October 2023. This has been the most ruthless, prolonged, and widespread attack against the Palestinian people since 1948. Every day that passes, the killings and the starvation of the Palestinians continue. The goal of the Israeli government is abundantly clear as we continue to witness the destruction of Palestinians in Gaza. The Commission finds it is genocide. In our report, the Commission found that the Israeli authorities and Israeli security forces committed and are continuing to commit the following underlying acts of genocide against the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. 1, killing members of the group. 2, causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group. 3, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part, and 4, imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group. On the specific intent of genocide, the Commission concludes that statements made by Israeli authorities are direct evidence of genocidal intent.
People constantly question, and they always try to whitewash what's really going on here. One thing I will give these genocidal maniacs credit for is that they're accelerating their inevitable demise. They don't hide how they really feel. They really think that they have our nation, and they would be correct as of this moment, by our nutsack, and that's never going to change because money talks and justice walks.
Yeah.
We know that it is a stereotype, but when the most powerful Zionists happen to have significant control over our banking system, global banking system, I should say, then they have reason to believe that they're never going to not be able to do this, and we are at their whim. I believe that the American people as a whole is waking up to this, and even though it isn't happening today or even tomorrow, it is inevitable that we will break away from this.
Yeah, I think that's true. And here's what gives me hope. This is going to sound somewhat ironic. What gives me hope is that Israel admits, Netanyahu admits, that they must have the support of the American public. So that proves to me, and why do they? How do we know that? Well, he was gleeful about the takeover of TikTok, and I think it was all orchestrated by Zionists. And now it got into Zionist hands. The whole thing about China and all that was just a total ruse, a complete obfuscation, and a reason to just give this over to Israel, Zionism. And then, then he's after X, for example. This proves to me that they need American support. And they were realizing, they said, Jonathan Greenblatt said, we have a TikTok problem. It isn't a left-right problem. He said it's a youth age problem. It's a TikTok problem. So this tells me they are aware that their rampages depend on American support. And that's being eroded as we speak, as we know. And that's been eroded dramatically in the last 2 years.
Yeah, they're losing the narrative. They're losing the narrative. And the only people that live in like MSNBC or Fox News silos are the only people that are still with that narrative. And it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Yeah. Our concern, or at least I can say my concern, is that at any moment, Google can decide to be done with us.
Yeah, they could.
And then and the truth is, so could Rumble, so could all of it. That's the whole problem with where we are now in this world. And we need to find alternative means that are not this for organizing. Yeah. And that's what I'm like, concerns me. Like Google can just decide they're done with us. Yeah,
that concerns me too. In fact, since Israel has contracts with Google, enormous amounts of money, they have every reason, they have every interest in censoring and deplatforming anti-Israel, anti-Zionist content. So yeah, that you're on here so far, and hope I didn't ruin it for you.
No,
I'm sure God. You're anti-Zionist anyway. But
oh God, no. We started out in our first year doing a telethon for Julian Assange, which got us shadow banned, and we did a deconstructing Zionism series that we did in October of 22. So we've been on the shit list for a while.
Wow. Yeah, I'm not surprised. But listen, but I think there's reason for hope. I wake up to my timeline on X, and it's all this anti-Muslim rhetoric and Islamification or whatever they're saying. It was obscene. Just an obscene amount. So they're spending a lot of money on these so-called influencers to put out this trash.
Yeah.
To deflect attention away from the anti-Zionist sentiment that's growing so rapidly in America. They're trying to now divert that onto Islam and create all that. And of course, this also justifies their slaughter of, in their minds, of
Michael, don't you want another $7,000 for a social media post? It's only going to
Unbelievable.
cost you your soul.
Nothing. Yeah, not your soul, nothing. I'd rather starve, to be honest, than give up my freedom and to give up the truth.
Couldn't have said it better. We'll finish it out.
The Commission also concludes that the pattern of conduct is circumstantial evidence for genocidal intent, and that genocidal intent was the only reasonable inference that could be drawn from a totality of the evidence. Therefore, the Commission concludes that the Israeli authorities and Israeli security forces have the genocidal intent to destroy, in whole or in part, the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip.
Yeah. Anybody
well, she's just anti-Semitic. She just hates us.
What surprises me is that, India is, very Zionized now. And this is just wonderful that she is standing up, because India is, they're using their own conflicts between Pakistan and India and Muslims versus Hindus and all that to generate Zionist sentiment in that country. So this is remarkable in that sense.
Now, what do you think the biggest psychopath of them all had to say in response to this? Well, in the fake language, as Jen likes to say, he had a little bit of a response earlier this afternoon.
יש לנו כרגע את ההזדמנות, במיוחד היום הזה, לעצור הכל, להגיד, רגע, החטופים ברוך השם החיים חזרו, זה היה עיקר הטענה למה אנחנו לא ממשיכים את המלחמה, ועכשיו צריך לחזור ללחימה, צריך לחזור למלחמה, צריך להוריד עליהם שערי גיהנום.
Oh my God.
He's like for me hearing Hebrew now, it's like fingernails on a blackboard. Like it makes my skin crawl to hear Hebrew.
Yeah. It's such an artificial language anyway. They invented
so
it for the purpose in this case. But yeah, no wonder this is where Trump gets his rhetoric. We'll unleash hell on, as if hell hasn't been released on them, to the nth degree already. What more could a people take? This is so, if they're anti-human, they're anti-humanist. They want to get rid of, they're just genocidal freaks. There's no other way to put it. I think it's a psychopathic society because they have 80% support at least over there.
Yes.
They have people, mocking, doing videos, mocking Palestinian suffering and starvation. Just a stunning, and all the genocidal intent they could find. Obviously the UN found it in all the statements that were made by people like Ben Gvir, Netanyahu, Israel Katz, and others. They're disgusting.